It's time for a little comedy, a little content, and a lot of conversation. It's the Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube. And now here's your host, Geno Jones.
Hey, we're back live. What's happening, everybody? The Geno Jones Show. I'm coming to you live, like a little bug flying around. That's what I love about live TV. Now, normal days and start times are Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Yesterday was the best of the Geno Jones Show. It was a Geno Jones Show binge watch day, binge watch back episodes day, the best of. Spent the day yesterday. It was a daddy-daughter date with my baby girl, my youngest, Allie Jones, who is the official drip director, fashion designer, the official wardrobe consultant for the Geno Jones Show. Of course, if you watch on a regular basis, you know that because you hear me mention that every day at the end of every show. So she came to visit, and she had to go back to, well, she attends college in Chicago, but she is a designer, and she has so many orders. People just want to commission her to do some great work. Check her out, lx.ncl underscores that little dash below, lx.n like Nanette, C like Charlie, L like Lexi underscore. She's got these incredible handmade crochet bags, like handbags for women. Incredible. And she's done some other items, some like a clothing line. So she's got accessories, and she's done like leggings, crochet. Check it out. So let's start the show shouting out my Geminis celebrating a birthday today. DeAndre Hopkins. So he went to college here in South Carolina, a little bit north of here, probably about Clemson is about two and a half hours, kind of like northwest of where we are in the Charleston, South Carolina metro. Then he was a star, one of the best receivers in the National Football League for the Arizona Cardinals. He is now like a free agent. We don't know where he is going to go. Go holler at Patrick Mahomes there, DeAndre. So DeAndre Hopkins, 31 today. So happy birthday, DeAndre. He's a bad brother, bad man. And speaking of bad, Damian Hall of Guy, double nickel today, 55. Happy birthday, Damian Hall. And speaking of bad, one of the baddest. I could make an argument that this production duo, this team that has produced hit after hit, can't even count them. I mean, just ask Janet Jackson. Just ask the SOS Band. Ask Alexander O'Neal. Well, he's not with us any longer. His birthday is actually tomorrow. Rest in peace, power, and paradise to Prince Rogers Nelson. Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. Well, Mr. Jimmy Jam Harris, James Harris III. That's his government name. Happy birthday, Jimmy Jam, 64 today. Of course, one of the original members, one of the original 7 of the group, The Time. You had Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, and of course, Morris Day on the lead, and Jerome with the mirror. And you had Jesse Johnson on lead guitar, and Jelly Bean Johnson, and my man Monty Moore. Man, The Time is one of the all-time great bands ever. You name whatever band you want to name, but in terms of musicians and showmanship, The Time, man, if you were fortunate enough to see The Time in the 80s, before they kind of broke up, I'm telling you, just go back. You're on YouTube, just The Time, live performance from the 80s. Just type it in. It'll come up. I got a feeling one of the live performances will come up. They were incredible. So happy birthday to Jimmy Jam. Man, they produced Control, Rhythm Nation for Janet Jackson. Man, so many albums. They just, woo. But that combination, Jimmy and Terry with Janet, or Janet with Jimmy and Terry, Control, Rhythm Nation, 1814. Say Less, Nothing else left to be said, right? Okay, I got to talk about this. So there's a lot of people that's running for president. Chris Christie announced today, he's going to run in the Republican primary. Former vice president, the man who the MAGA cult and his boy Owens Hitler, who dispatched this MAGA white nationalist, let's start a race war crew, who was dispatched to the U.S. Capitol on January 6th that brought a gallows, like a gallows with a hangman's noose that was already put together. The piece of wood and the hangman's noose is hanging from the gallows to hang Mike Pence. And he's still kind of somewhat caping for his boy, but now he's saying he is going to run for president. And on kind of the Democratic or, talking about independent side. So you heard about this woman, Marianne Williamson, that really Oprah put on. And Dr. Cornell West, retired professor, taught at Harvard, and I believe he also taught at Princeton. Now, Dr. Cornell West is a man that I admire. I still admire. And really admired Dr. West for a long time. Just an incredible intellectual mind. I have no doubt. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty good. I have no doubt, no question that Dr. West loves black people. Now, you could say, yes, he loves all people, obviously, because folks don't say, well, he married a white woman, so he don't. Just breathe. But listen, he's got receipts when it comes to, and that not just black people, brown people, people who are oppressed, any group of people that's marginalized or oppressed. Cornell West has got the receipts in terms of being an advocate, social justice warrior. So I'm not questioning that. But I gotta confess, when President Obama got elected, now the urban legend. So this is how the story goes. Apparently, Dr. West and Tavis Smiley were upset that they were not invited to the White House. Yeah, so you've heard this before. This is not breaking news. I'm not breaking this news to you. So now I haven't had a chance to sit down with Cornell West and ask him to his face. I would. I don't know if he would answer. And Barack is he's not a confrontational dude like that. He's only going to take the high ground. He would probably, I'm sure he would never admit it, like on camera, personally. Now, Michelle might spill the tea, because Michelle, she is from the south side of Chicago. Barack moved to the south side of Chicago, grew up in Hawaii, but Michelle, born and bred on the south side of the Chi-Town, different animal, a whole different situation with the queen herself, the forever First Lady Michelle Obama. I digress. So Cornell West released a video on, I saw it on Instagram, and he announced that he's running for truth and justice. So there's been a lot of talk about, and he's running in this for the People's Party for Truth and Justice. So listen, I got to just say this, Dr. West, like I said, listen, I admire you highly. I really admire your work over the course of your lifetime. I really had to look at you sideways because, man, when President Obama was in office, it was like, it's one thing to hold people accountable. We all should be held accountable. I'm all with that. And there are some policies that you could disagree with, but it was just, I'm telling you, it just, look, game recognized game. And it felt personal. It just had a certain kind of juice to it. It was like a boost to this criticism. It was almost in a venomous way with you and Tavis Smiley. But anyway, you are highly intelligent, and you have a right to run for president. just like all these other folks that's running. But you are in a unique position because, first of all, you understand how politics works. And I know you're anti-war and, you're for the people and kind of anti, like Wall Street, the big business taking advantage of people. I get it. So a lot of that we are singing from the same hymn book. But I know, Dr. West, I know you, of all people, are smart enough to understand how this current political situation is. How this political, if you want to call it a game, works. But you understand acutely the times that we are living in. And you say a lot of it is the reason that you're running for president. But you know, Cornell West, Dr. West, because you are really a highly intelligent, a brilliant man as far as I'm, especially when it comes to academia. No question. But I do know that you know, and I know, that if you run as a third-party candidate, which you have every right to do, you are handing the presidential election to this whole MAGA cult. Because even if Orange Hitler gets indicted and convicted and is taken up to Rikers or wherever in an orange jumpsuit with chains on his shackles and chains on his ankles and handcuffs on his wrist, that ideology, that mentality, that MAGA cultism, Trumpism, MAGAism, empowering white nationalism, hate in all of its forms, anti-blackness, anti-Semitic, anti-Muslim, anti-immigrant, i.e. anti-Mexican or Hispanic, except for the white Hispanics that are who are subscribing to this ideology of white Christian nationalism and hate. Oh, hold on. Yes, we got some black folks. All skin folk ain't kin folk. Yes, I don't need to call any names, but you know who they are. You got one running for president. Not you, Dr. West, but I'm just saying, you understand. So I just really, I know we got a whole year out. And look, I'm not the only one who's really been a big fan of your work and you as an author and just what you've done for the culture and being an advocate and an activist. But running on a third-party ticket, you will not beat Joe Biden or Orange Hitler, Trump, or Orange Hitler Light, little mini Orange Hitler Light, mini me, mini Trump, Ron DeSantis, or whatever MAGA cult. We'll see if Mr. Tim Scott, Senator Tim Scott, is on the love and happiness, the Al Green love and happiness mantra. But we'll see how long that lasts. Because if he wants to come out of that Republican primary, it is no longer the Republican Party that your grandparents or your dad knew. It is a MAGA cult right now. So, Dr. West, I'm not the only one. Yeah, you got a lot of supporters. Folks are excited, and I get it. There's a time and a place for everything and everybody. And I'm just saying, right now, this is not a game. This is not a game. November 2024 is going to be a binary choice. Binary. You can Google it. Binary means two. And whoever's coming out of that MAGA cult primary and the Democratic primary, one of those two people, and one of those two people alone, are going to be elected, or in President Biden's case, reelected. I got it. Joe Biden is 80. Dr. West is 70. Orange Hill is gonna be 70, 78? So now, you say, well, what has President Biden done for black folks? Oh, well, funny you should ask. So it's so much, even I could take as much time as I want, but I'll just start off. Remember those child tax credits that a lot of you all got? You got $300 a month per child, $250 a month per child. Well, guess who was instrumental, who got that passed and signed that legislation when Democrats had control of the White House and the House and the Senate? President Biden. A lot of black folks I know personally. I got family members that literally took them from the brink of poverty and made a huge difference in their life. And a lot of poor white, because you do understand, there are more poor whites in America than there are blacks in poverty. You do understand that in terms of actual numbers. So there were a lot of white folks, poor whites that were taken out of poverty. But yes, so you did that for black folks and everybody else. What about health care? Folks couldn't get health care. It expanded, quote unquote, Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act. If you have a sister or a niece or a grandmother or your dad or your uncle or your aunt, or maybe you, if you're diabetic and you were paying $700, $800, $900 a month for insulin, maybe a little more, for my brothers and sisters, and unfortunately diabetes, it affects African Americans at a higher rate than it does white Americans. Like with most health conditions, those outcomes and conditions for black folks are always worse. The maternal mortality rate, the rate that black women die in maternity, during or at childbirth, is 3 times higher for black women. The maternal mortality rate, 3 times higher for black women than white women. So, making sure that black people could get affordable health care insurance, capping the price of insulin at $35 a month, especially for seniors. So, like I said, if you got grandparents or a mom or dad or aunt or uncle or maybe you, now you're not paying $800-900 a month or more. You're paying $35 a month for insulin. Not to mention all the young black folks, along with other young Hispanic and white kids, student loan debt relief. President Biden signed that order. Guess who's holding that up? The MAGA cult in court, because they don't want black folks. They don't want black college students. They feel that they shouldn't get. Why should they get their debt forgiven? Now, some of these same folks, some of these same MAGA cult members in the House of Representatives, like crazy ass Marjorie Taylor Greene, who I guess her and her family, they had like some kind of like a gym. It wasn't Planet Fitness, but someplace like that, a gym where you could go work out. Had one of those PPP loans, over $400,000 forgiven. She didn't have to pay a penny back. There were some people in the House of Representatives on the MAGA cult side that had a PPP loan forgiven. It was over $1 million. And it's several of them. You could Google it. So those are the same people saying, no, that's a moral hazard. What about the people who paid their loan off? Well, great that they were blessed. What about the business people that had to pay their loans, or the idle loans, the small business loans that a lot of the small businesses, especially a lot of the small minority businesses, they got those idle loans during COVID. They didn't get the PPP, but the folks, the politicians that was connected, that got the PPP loans. government loans. Forgiven. Don't have to pay a penny back. But the people with the EIDL loans, they call them EIDL. You got to pay those loans back. So, and there were a lot of small black-owned businesses that were able to get those EIDL, EIDL loans. That was right around the time they had the paycheck protection, the PPP loans through the federal government and the EIDL loans. So, by the way, let's see. Oh, hold on. Guess what? Thank you. We got a storm passing through. Okay, there we go. Thank you. President Biden, the first black woman on the Supreme Court, Ketanji Brown. Let me make sure I got it right there. Ketanji Brown Jackson. Yes, Ketanji Brown Jackson, first black woman on the Supreme Court. Oh, by the way, first black woman vice president, Kamala Harris. And don't do it. Don't do that. Don't do that. I don't care who she's married to. We ain't gonna do that. Because she went to Howard. She's checking for the culture, black women and black men. So y'all just don't do that. We're not gonna do that today. Oh, by the way, the American Rescue Plan, that a lot came out. I believe the child tax credits came out of that. One thing I know for certain came out of that was millions of black people were allowed to stay in their homes through the American Rescue Plan. They weren't kicked out. So President Biden actually has done a lot for black folks. So once again, Dr. West, what are we really doing here? Because let's just be honest about it. If you run as a third party, what is Marianne Williams, she runs whatever, third party, Green Party. So a vote for Dr. West, because for the most part, the people who are going to vote for Dr. West are people who voted for Joe Biden. Now, there may be some who didn't vote at all, but in a close race, and remember, it's not the popular vote, it's this bogus-ass electoral college. Each state. And just a quick hypothetical, as we got a thunderstorm passing through the area, so I apologize. So if you see the screen going in and out of blackness, we got some thunderstorms, heavy rain in the area. Even if you are elected president under this People's Party, how many people in this People's Party are you going to have 51 senators elected in 51 states? Or not necessarily 51 states, but each state has 2 senators. So you're going to have to somehow get 51 people to run as U.S. senators? Or are you going to collaborate with the Democrats and say, well, I'm president. Let's just keep it very real, because President Biden could have done a lot more. If a lot more people who didn't want this MAGA cult madness is now taking over the House of Representatives, because you have more MAGA cult members in the House. The MAGA cult controls the House of Representatives because enough people didn't go out and vote in the midterms. We had enough that helped out in the Senate, say Raphael Warnock, got him back, sent him back to D.C. But that's how we lost. Think about President Obama, 2010. Folks were so happy, excited, party. Hey, we got a black president. We're free. It's over. Psych. Wrong answer. It wasn't over. It just begun, and the precursor, the MAGA cult, the pre-MAGA cult, which was the Tea Party, which is really all about we don't like this black dude as president, Because they talk about fiscal responsibility, but do your homework. Because when Barack Obama became president, that huge deficit that W. Bush left him went away. Guess what happened when your boy Owen Schittler came in? Deficit just skyrocketed. As a matter of fact, if you do some homework and research, over the last 50 years, Democrats have reduced our national debt or deficit, and every Republican president since the last 50 years has increased it. So really, the Democrats are actually, when it comes to the economy in terms of reducing debt, they're actually better. They just don't brag about it. And just the Republicans, now the MAGA cult, they're like great con artists. You know, they'll just stick to the lie and then look at you and make you think that you're crazy because you don't believe the lie. And they will, as my grandmother said, they will stick to the lie. They will hold on to the lie like a snapping turtle. My grandmother used to say, a snapping turtle get a hold of it, won't let go. So, Dr. West, I know we got a year, but I know you understand that the majority of people that would vote for you would be voting for Joe Biden. And really, in essence, a vote for you or Marianne Williamson is a vote for the MAGA cult. That's just a fact. Now, we can have this debate. I'd love to have this conversation with you. Because what are you going to do about Congress? Let's have some fun and let's play this thought exercise. And let's draw it out. Let's extrapolate it out. Let's be creative here. In case you won, are you going to be able to carry enough Democrats? Because you know none of the MAGA cult is going to F with you. You know that. So you got to get at least 51 Democrats. And you got some Democrats, like you got a situation in West Virginia. Because your boy Joe Manchin, it's going to be a tight situation. And, you know, he really votes like a Republican, not to mention one of the little crazy woman in Kristen Sinema in Arizona, problematic. So really, you got two Democrats that are, in essence, Republicans. And if the Republicans control the U.S. Senate and the House of Representatives, it's just going to be one messy situation there. There we go. Thank you. So, like I said, once again, I apologize for the storm. You may even be able to hear the thunder in the background. So, something to think about, everybody. Many of us, we love Dr. West, and Dr. West is a brilliant man, so that's why I know he's brilliant enough to understand how this situation works. And this is a dangerous time because we mess around and let this MAGA cult, because if you want to see what America will look like under this MAGA cult mentality, look at Florida, especially look at Texas, banning all books by black authors. Don't say gay. You can't even mention the word gay. Can't talk about the contributions that any gay person made to make this country better. Voter suppression. They'll rig it to where black folks, even if we vote, our vote will be nullified. Somebody will be able to come in and say, you know what? I think there's been voter fraud. That's voter fraud. Let's throw out all those ballots from Chicago and Detroit and Milwaukee, St. Louis and Philadelphia and Atlanta, i.e., throw out all them ballots where them Negroes and them brown folks are coming from. Look at Florida, his own election police. Election police? So we're going to have election police nationwide now? If you want to know, 6-week abortion ban, Most women don't even know they're pregnant in 6 weeks. Heck, some women, a lot of women, 6 weeks, haven't missed a period yet. If they don't have a regular cycle, come on now. So if you think this is a joke and if you think this is a game, look at Florida. And Dr. West, I know you looking at Florida and Marianne Williamson. So I'm just saying, we got a year out. I do have the utmost respect, but this is not a time to play games. And Joe Biden, he ain't a savior. He don't have the charisma, Barack, you can say he's too old, but he's also very wise. And he was able to do something with this debt limit, or basically get these fools from destroying the world economy, let alone the United States of America's economy. He understands how that creature works. Because if you are elected president, Dr. West, you're not going to come in and change it overnight, especially if you don't have the support in the House and the Senate. You got to work with them. The House of Representatives, they control the money. They, like, in theory, write the checks and pay the bills. The Senate, they're really writing past the laws. Yes, laws are written in the House of Representatives, but their main function is like oversight, and their main function is they control the purse strings. They control the money and the funding. So without the support in the House and Senate, you won't be able to do a damn thing. All the wonderful things that you want to do for poor and working class people, I'm with you 10 toes down. But you understand how this game works. And it's a time we cannot be playing games and taking risks. Because if we let this MAGA cult mentality slip in, just look at Florida. I'm going to keep saying it. If you want to know what America is going to look like, with all the races, there's a story in Florida. This is the mentality of Florida, and I'm going to get out of here. There's a black woman, or she's no longer with us, A.J. Owens, 34-year-old black woman, mother of 4 kids. She was shot and killed, murdered in Ocala, Florida. So she had this neighbor. It was a white woman. Apparently had an issue with black kids. Her kids were part of the kids that were playing in this field next to this apartment complex where this white woman lived, who got mad because kids are kids and they're playing and they make noise. And she was calling them the N-word, and then one of the kids, one of A.J. Owens, her son, he had a iPad. So this woman takes her son's iPad, she throws skates at the kids and called them the N-word. So A.J. Owens wanted to know, like, okay, what are you doing? So A.J. Owens goes over to the woman's house. She knocks on her door. She didn't kick it down. She knocks on the woman's door and says, from sources that I've seen from reading and doing a lot of research, I know you're in there. This woman, this murderer, because she murdered this black, shot through the door and killed A.J. Owens, shot through the door. Now, I understand in Florida they got the stand your ground law, which is this stand your ground, and you can stand your ground and kill a black person if you feel threatened. A.J. Owens didn't have a weapon. Now, you can feel threatened just by my presence. Well, I felt threatened, and she came up on my porch and knocked on the door. But did you know if she had a weapon, you don't know what she had, because you shot through the door. Once again, you F around and find out, mess around, let this MAGA cult get in the White House. What you see in Florida, on steroids. Thank you for letting me be a part of your life. As always, God bless each and every one of you, and you, and you, and you, and especially you and God. Most of all, thank you for letting me do the Geno Jones Show. I come to you live Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. in Chicago, 3:30 p.m. out on the West Coast. Please subscribe to the Geno Jones Show YouTube channel. You and everybody you know, everybody that you like, that you love, folks that you ain't that crazy about, folks you can't stand, even folks you hate, tell them all. Or as Nelly would say, tell everybody to subscribe to the Geno Jones Show channel, YouTube channel. Subscribe, share, screen grab some of this and send it to Dr. West and a lot of his supporters. And I'd love to have this conversation, so holler at me. Feel free to come on the show. We can have this conversation. We can chop it up. All right. Shout out to Mr. Markel Bailey, the official barber and hairstylist of the Geno Jones Show. Check him out. He is the CEO of Designer Cuts in the Charleston, South Carolina Metro. He is on Instagram. Kel be cutting up. KELBECUTTINUP, of course, the official wardrobe consultant and stylist for the Geno Jones Show. Allie Jones, you can check her out on Instagram. She is LX.NCL LX.NCL_. And Bruce Gage, also wardrobe consultant and stylist for the Geno Jones Show. He is on Instagram, on IG, the Mario Uomo collection, the Flyball collection, and more. MIGLIODIMARIOUOMO. MIGLIODIMARIOUOMO. The next live edition of the Geno Jones Show is going to be Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Hello to my number one fan, Mary Dixon, my mother, my executive producer, my publicist, my CEO of publicity. And hello to dear friend and old neighbor. Hello, Randall. How are you doing, my friend? Good to see you. Thank you for watching. And I want to thank you and you and you, and especially you for watching. Go back and binge watch whatever you missed of this episode. Go back and binge watch all of my episodes and watch me live, and tell everybody to make sure that they tune in live Monday through Friday, 6:30 Eastern Time, 5:30 in Chicago, 3:30 p.m. out on the West Coast, part of the Geno Jones Network. You see the sign behind me, the Geno Jones Show, live on YouTube. Once again, subscribe, share, screen grab, like, and binge watch all of my episodes, all my back episodes. I leave you with these words. Pray for peace. Be blessed. Thanks for watching.
Subscribe and tune in to the next episode of the Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube.